Hanoi is not only Vietnam's capital but one of the oldest cities on Earth. Its ancient history is all around you, yet often overshadowed by the events of the late 20th century. Temples and ancient citadels take you back as far as the 6th century. But as you explore, you notice Chinese and French colonial architecture. It's easy on the eye and takes you on a separate journey. Like Vietnam, traveling through Hanoi is high-paced. Ever present are the sounds of horns from thousands of scooters. Each one communicates and designates right-of-way more than a set of traffic lights. Today's video is about wonders of Hanoi, the most amazing places in Hanoi. Before we get started, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest content. St. Joseph's Cathedral. Set between the beautiful Hoan Kiem Lake and Hanoi's Old Quarter, St. Joseph's Cathedral is an architectural marvel. The neo-Gothic building was inspired by the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris and built in 1886. In the decades since, it has become an iconic part of the city's skyline. Despite serving only a small number of Vietnamese Catholics, now the oldest church in Hanoi, St. Joseph Cathedral, is as popular outside of Mass as it is within. One-pillar pagoda. If Buddhists were to build a treehouse, it would likely look a lot like this. This 11th century temple was built by the emperor in gratitude for finally being blessed by a son. The temple was meant to look like a lotus flower blossoming from a single pillar in the pond, similar to the one seen in the prophetic dream of a child that this emperor had received. Inside, there is a small shrine to the Bodhisattva of Mercy. The current structure is a rebuild, as the French had the first destroyed after their retreat from the country. Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. The final resting place of Vietnamese communist leader Ho Chi Minh sits in Ba Dinh Square, the location where he read the nation's Declaration of Independence in 1945. This tall, blocky pillared building is modeled after Lenin's crypt in Moscow and meant to evoke a traditional communal house, though to many tourists it looks like a concrete cubicle with columns. Contrary to his desire for a simple cremation, the embalmed body is on display in plexiglass casing, and a dress code of long sleeves and pants is required to visit. The mausoleum is closed for a couple months around the end of the year, when the body goes to Russia for maintenance. Presidential Palace. Behind Ho Chi Minh's mausoleum is a humble stilt house, where Ho Chi Minh supposedly lived in the 60s, though some claim that it would have been too risky during the war for him to live here. The house is an interpretation of a traditional rural dwelling, and has been preserved just as Ho left it. It's set in a well-tended garden next to a carp-filled pond. It shares grounds with the much more luxurious and impressive presidential palace built for the French governor of the Indochina colony in the early 1900s. The palace is now used for official receptions and isn't open to the public. Hanoi Hilton. The Hoa Lo prison, sarcastically coined the Hanoi Hilton by American POWs, was originally built by the French to house Vietnamese political prisoners. The North Vietnamese Army later used the prison to house prisoners of war during the Vietnam War. Well-known figures such as Senator John McCain, James Stockdale and Bud Day were just a few of the many prisoners of war that spent time in this prison. Two-thirds of the prison was torn down to make way for the Hanoi Towers. The rest was turned into a museum and is now a popular tourist attraction in Hanoi. In 1999, a Hilton Hotel opened in Hanoi and was carefully named the Hilton Hanoi Opera Hotel. Vietnam Museum of Ethnology. Through its connection to neighboring countries and Vietnam's colonial past, the Southeast Asian country is very diverse. The story of Vietnam's many subcultures and their heritage is one display at the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology. There are over 50 indigenous communities in Vietnam, many of whom are working side by side with this insightful museum to preserve and celebrate centuries of stories and unique cultures. With this help, the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology is as authentic as you could hope it to be. The strong collaboration has created a rich range of exhibits, from historic artifacts to tribal clothing. If you're looking to explore beyond modern Vietnam culture, this is the place to go. Temple of Literature. This is one of the temples of Confucius, and home of the nation's first university. Originally built in 1070, the temple is meant to honor all scholars. Today, calligraphists will come and write goodwill wishes in Han characters during the Asian New Year at the steps of the temple to give as gifts. The temple was built to replicate Confucius' birthplace, with 5 courtyards and various temples and other buildings throughout the expansive grounds. Of special note are the Stele of Doctors, a series of over 100 carved blue stone turtles, which honor the names of all who pass the royal exams. Hoan Kiem Lake. The name comes from a legend in which Emperor Loloi was given a magical sword by the gods, which he used to drive out the invading Chinese. Later, while boating on the lake, he encountered a giant turtle, which grabbed the sword and carried it down to its depths. Every morning at around 6 a.m. local residents practice traditional Tai Chi on the shore. The lake also houses Jade Island, home of the 18th century Temple of the Jade Mountain. The island is reachable via the red-painted and picturesque morning sunlight bridge. Tran Qu Pagoda. The oldest Buddhist temple in Hanoi, Tran Qu Pagoda, was first developed in the 6th century. Set on an island in West Lake, you must first wander across an elegant bridge with the shimmering water below. From a distance, you can admire the 11-story stupa tower that stands at 15 meters, 45 feet, in height. But only from up close can you appreciate the pagoda's finer details and see the Amitabha Buddha statues found inside. Glistening gemstones are a common sight, strewn across various statues that add significance to an ancient and beautiful temple. Hanoi Opera House. Built during the French invasion, for the French, the Hanoi Opera House has undergone a modern revitalization. Since its renovation in 1997, the Hanoi Opera House has become a centerpiece of the city's arts and culture scene. The building was inspired by the Paris Opera House and resides, aptly, within Hanoi's French Quarter. From the street, you can stand back and admire one of Hanoi's finest pieces of colonial architecture, its elegant facade complete with white columns that blend effortlessly with the cream walls. With consistent events, travelers can peel back the cultural curtain and enjoy a night of Vietnamese opera, regional dance, ballet and live music. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Share your thoughts in the comments below.